Okay, so you guys have been requesting a green bean casserole recipe. Fun fact, I have two on my channel. I will link those below, but specifically I have people requesting the original Campbell's soup green bean casserole recipe. It's like a 5-ingredient recipe, super easy. It's really quick to put together, and you know, it's a popular side item during the holiday season, so here we go. I'm gonna show you how I make it. Okay, so here I have my ingredients. By the way, if you hear noise in the background, I am cooking up a storm today. I have a cornbread dressing baking in the oven. That's the background noise you hear. So here is the original recipe. You can find it on the Campbell's Soup website, and nope, this is not the recipe. Here it is. Okay, so 1 can of Campbell's condensed cream of mushroom soup, 3/4 of a cup of milk, 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 4 cups of cut green beans, and 1 1/3 cups of French's crispy fried onions divided. So I'm just noticing this. This is similar to the original recipe, but the Campbell's soup recipe is a little different, and that's the one I'm making. So scratch that. This is actually an easy recipe as well. But I'm going to give you the Campbell's soup version, and it's on their website. I'll link it below. It does call for 4 cups of green beans. I'm using canned green beans. Actually, these are just 2 different brands, and they look different. I've drained it. My 1 can of cream of mushroom Campbell's soup, and on the Campbell's website, it calls for a 1/2 cup of milk. So I'm going to go with that. And it calls for a teaspoon of soy sauce. I will be adding some cracked black pepper. That's my little extra, but for the most part, this is what goes into the casserole, along with your French's fried onions. I will be putting that in the mix and on top, so let's put it together. Really easy. Okay, so going in with the green beans, and actually, you know what? I probably should have mixed. You know what? We're just gonna dump it in a bowl. Here we go. But if you're doing this at home, you probably want to mix the milk and the cream of mushroom first. But it's all gonna work. So I'm gonna go with my teaspoon of soy sauce. Let's go with the cream of mushroom. Half a cup of whole milk. Okay, give it a mix. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Now I'm gonna go in with the French fried onions. Okay, so now I just have an 8x8 square baking dish. I'm gonna go in with this. Smooth that out a little bit. This is ready for the oven. Bake it in a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven. That's about 180 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes. You can actually cover it. I'm gonna test it out uncovered because it didn't really specify. Okay, as you can see, my cornbread dressing is cooking. Going in right next to it. Okay, 25 minutes, we'll come back to this. Okay, so now I'm gonna add carefully my onions on top. There we go. So at this point, another 5 minutes just to get the onions toasty. By the way, check out my cornbread stuffing, looks amazing. And then it'll be done. So here it is. Ah, it's hot. And this is just your basic green bean casserole. You dig in, it's creamy. So that is the Campbell's Soup original green bean casserole recipe. But I feel like if I'm showing you that one, I should show you how I like to make it from scratch. So here we go. Here's how I like to make green bean casserole my way. So to start, I'll be using 2 cans of green beans. I prefer the French style green beans, but one of these is cut green beans. You could also use fresh. I will link my older recipe video using fresh green beans. Here I'm going to be using some fried onions, and for those of you looking for the original French's green bean casserole recipe, here it is. You could pause this and screenshot it or write it down. I'm also going to be using 1 pint of heavy cream. Sometimes I use evaporated milk. If that's more convenient, you could try that. I'll also use 6 ounces of bacon, half of a small onion diced, 1 pint of fresh mushrooms. These are white button mushrooms that I've sliced and chopped. Here I have 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I'm going to season with some onion powder, garlic powder, and cracked black pepper, and a pinch of salt, basically to taste. So to start this, in a cold pan, I'm going to add my bacon, and I'm going to turn the heat on. Doing this will help render more of that bacon fat. So I'm just going to cook this. Now that I've rendered a little bit of that bacon fat, I'm going to add my chopped or diced onion. And I'm just going to continue to cook the bacon and saute the onion until translucent. Now I'm going to add my mushrooms and continue to saute and cook. So I'd like to mention that if you are not a fan of mushrooms or bacon in this, you can exclude it. What you'll need to do is add 3 tablespoons of butter and saute your onions. And then from there you can work on your cream sauce. Here I'm just going to sprinkle in some of that garlic and onion powder. 1/4 teaspoon of each works. Give that a mix. I'm going to add some freshly cracked black pepper. And the pepper and the onion powder, garlic powder, and even the salt is to taste. Now I'm going to add my all-purpose flour. Give that a mix, and it's going to create a roux. And once that's cooked for about 45 seconds to a minute, you'll want to add your heavy cream. Give it a mix until it starts to gently simmer. And once it's mixed and combined, you'll want to add your pinch of salt, and that is to taste. And now I'm going to add my drained green beans. Give it a mix, and that's done. I'm going to add this to a baking dish. You'll need at least a 2-quart baking dish or something like an 8 by 12. If you're using a 9 by 13, you might need to double this recipe. So now I'm going to sprinkle in just a little bit of my fried onions, give that a mix. I'm going to cover this in aluminum foil, and I will be baking this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. Then I'm going to uncover it, and of course you'll want to do this carefully. It's probably best if you don't do this while in the oven, but I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit more of those fried onions and let it continue baking for another 5 minutes, and then it's done. I'm going to let this set for about 10 to 15 minutes and then serve. I'm going to be serving this alongside roasted chicken. If you want that recipe, check the description, or I'll have the link here somewhere in this video. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.